This segment of the news is brought to you by Smitty's Cards and Coins. Would you like to know what your collectibles are worth? Come by 2281 Postal Road, Unit 4, across from the post office.
Welcome back. Niger Innis is the national spokesperson for the Congress of Racial Equality and executive director of TeaPartyForward.com. He has also been a news correspondent for MSNBC and various other networks. We caught up with Niger at the Nye County Republican Central Committee's Lincoln Day dinner held at the Nevada Treasure RV Resort Saturday night.
Well, working very hard with the Congress of Racial Equality, a civil rights organization that's 75 years old this year. We had a terrible tragedy. I personally had a tragedy, and I'd say the country had a tragedy in that my father, Roy Innis, a longtime chairman of the Congress of Racial Equality, earlier this year passed on and went to heaven and is no longer with us. Thank you. But we're carrying on with the tradition of fighting for not the old fight of the 1950s and 60s is over. That page has been turned, and we as a country have come so far so quickly, relatively peacefully as a country. I see it as my mission is to communicate to minorities, to communicate to all Americans that this is the greatest country on earth in terms of opportunity. And it's up to you to get that opportunity. It's up to you to engage in civilian, political, business life of this country and make the best of it that you will. And not to buy into the race mongering and the racial demagoguery of the other side.
You're in a unique position, being such an activist, of course, in the minority community, but also a Republican here, to put a little bit of word of, what your guys' feelings are, what's going on in the minority community.
Well, look. You look at the last election cycle, and in spite of the media, and in spite of the racial demagoguery of the other side, and the legions of race merchants on the other side playing their game, do you know that Donald Trump ended up getting 16% of the black male vote? He ended up getting 33% of Hispanics, which is almost a miracle, but he did. And what it says is that we have this unique time in our country where these folk and their friends and family members, some of whom did not vote, some of whom voted for another party, didn't vote Democrat or Republican. Now we have a unique opportunity to bring these folk to preach the gospel of limited government, of liberty, of loving our Constitution, of knowing and saying that it is our Constitution that separates us from any other country on the planet and is the reason that we are the single most successful country in the history of mankind. We have that opportunity to go into these communities and preach that message and bring them in. The fact is, the other guys, the liberals, the far left progressives have a much more negative, pessimistic, unoptimistic message for them and for these communities, and they take them for granted. We have the opportunity to come in with a positive, affirmative message to say that we want to help you to help yourselves and liberate yourselves out of your potential condition of poverty.
And now here's your news across Nevada.
Nevada's marijuana industry is getting ready for recreational sales to begin this summer. However, you can't smoke marijuana in public at this time. With 42 million visitors annually, some marijuana dispensaries are looking into banking on the tourism industry. A new bill introduced to the state legislature hopes to open doors for pot tourism, following Colorado's lead in creating safe havens to consume marijuana. SB 236 would allow local governments to issue licenses to businesses like bars and marijuana dispensaries for public marijuana use. The first recreational marijuana sales are expected to begin as early as July 1st. Senate Democrats have introduced Senate Bill 228, which would allow doctors and social workers to prescribe medical pot as a form of treatment for addicts hooked on heroin, painkillers, and other narcotics. New data from the Center for Disease Control shows that more than 500,000 Americans died from opioid overdoses since the year 2000, with the death rate skyrocketing in recent years. A bill that would help survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault break leases without facing any financial penalty was introduced in the Nevada Assembly on Wednesday. Assembly Bill 247 was referred to the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor. No hearing has been scheduled. The measure would allow survivors of such crimes to break a lease without having to worry about a financial penalty. The bill would remove one small obstacle in their road to recovery. Assembly Bill 85 would require hands-on CPR training in middle school and high schools. The bill would apply to both public and private schools. Students currently receive textbook lessons about CPR, but there is no requirement to practice the technique on chest compressions. About a dozen people, including emergency medical responders, teachers, school district officials, and parents, have joined in support of the bill. Nobody testified neutrally or in opposition. The Division of Public and Behavioral Health received notification of a 4-year grant award for assisted outpatient treatment. Prior to this funding, services existed only in southern Nevada. The grant award has allowed assisted outpatient treatment to be expanded to include individuals residing in Washoe County. The new program is housed at the Northern Nevada Adult Mental Health Services in Sparks, Nevada. Assisted outpatient treatment is an involuntary civil commitment program designed to deliver comprehensive community-based mental health services to individuals with persistent and serious mental illnesses who have a history of non-compliance with voluntary treatment for their mental health issues and who have failed at attempts in less restrictive treatment programs. Services include medication management and support, mental health treatment, housing support, and other services. For more information, you can visit their website at the Division of Public and Behavioral Health for assisted outpatient treatment programs. Nevada's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate for January fell to 5%, the lowest it has been since late 2007. The state gained a seasonally adjusted 1,000 jobs relative to December. January job levels are up 44,400 over a year ago. In fact, gains exceeded 40,000 in each of the past 7 months. I'm Deanna O'Donnell. That's your news across Nevada.
Thanks, Deanna, and stay tuned to News 46. More local news for you is just ahead.